I want you all to keep something in mind. I've seen a lot of really fucking terrible movies this year. I saw Eloise. I saw The Snowman. I saw The Bye Bye Man. I saw The Belko Experiment. This is the worst thing I've seen in 2017. Leatherface is directed by two people. It's directed by Alexandra Bustillo and Julian Maury. And it stars Stephen Dorff, Lily Taylor, and Sam Strike, and a fuck ton of other people. And it's an origin story for Leatherface, because we needed that, apparently. This movie's been in production hell for years. Initially, it was meant to be a sequel to Texas Chainsaw 3D, and then they couldn't get the funding for that or greenlight it because it was fucking awful. And so they made a prequel instead that, like I said, decided to tell the origin of a character who needs no fucking origin because it's the most simple story ever. He's a mentally handicapped dude who is raised in a really fucked up family of cannibals, and is essentially a giant baby. And he acts out either due to fear or due to being manipulated by his relatives. Not that hard. So why do they keep fucking this up? How are there only 2, arguably 3 good Texas Chainsaw Massacre films out of 8? This movie's awful. I cannot even begin to explain to you how bad this shit is. The entire film, I was just staring at the screen with a glazed over look on my face, because I could go on for hours about why this movie just shouldn't exist in the first place, but I don't have that kind of time. Who the fuck thought it was a good idea to give us a Leatherface origin story that completely retcons a fuck ton? I mean, granted, the entire franchise of Texas Chainsaw Massacre is full of retcons left and right, between the family name and Leatherface himself's name, and members of the family there are, and how they act, and there's a bunch of shit that's completely up in the air and just all over the place, but this is a new level. I don't need a film about how Leatherface was just some misunderstood child who was then locked away in a really corrupt system, and then he forgets who he is and has to find himself after breaking out of an institution with a bunch of other fucking lunatics. No one needs that. And the fact that they decided to turn that into a film is fucking laughable. It's not only unnecessary, it's fucking stupid. Credit where credit is due with this film. I applaud them for using practical effects, despite the fact that all those practical effects are hidden in complete fucking darkness and you can't see them half the time. And I applaud Lily Taylor for at least giving a shit. She's way too good to be in this film, but at least she gave a shit, and it's evident she gave a shit. She at least tried to give a good performance, unlike Stephen fucking Dorff and Sam Strike and literally everybody else in the film. This whole movie is the epitome of filmmaking laziness. The cinematography is decent, I guess. There are some nice shots here and there. There are certain scenes where you can tell they're putting the effort into making an homage to the first Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but because the entire film looks like it was dipped in puke, you can't appreciate it because the color grading is awful. It's murky and dull and ugly. Yes, the other Texas Chainsaw films have had a tint to them, but that tint adds to the overall grittiness and the overall rawness of those films. This film is so glossy that when you turn it dull and take the color grading down to a murky yellow, it just looks like you really didn't care and didn't put any effort into making it look good. The original managed to maintain an atmosphere of really gritty, uncomfortable rawness to it without a single bit of gore. This movie, no, fuck that. We need to have 2 characters fucking on top of a fucking decomposing corpse because it's shocking and edgy, right? Let's not have Leatherface be be born mentally ill. Let's have him be a fucking misunderstood child who has anger issues due to the fact that he was taken from his family at a young age. And then through a series of unfortunate circumstances, he ends up becoming mentally stunted at like 20 years old because he had some shit happen to him. Let's not have him be born deformed. Let's have him be deformed because a corrupt cop was shooting at him a lot and they shot a bullet and it grazed the side of his face because, you know, he has like a slight half Joker smile now, so that he's really deformed. I'm so sick to death of this "we need to humanize the antagonist" bullshit. I'm so sick. They did it in Texas Chainsaw 3D too, where yeah, he's a crazy killer, he's really bad, but the town's really corrupt and they're worse. Feel bad for Leatherface, guys. Root for him because this corrupt cop, he's really bad. He's the real bad guy. He wants to take this kid away from his mom. He's gone off the deep end since the Sawyers killed his daughter. Now he's just gonna go around killing escaped convicts. It's so lazy and it's so forced and there's no need for it whatsoever. This film tries to fucking build a mystery about which one of the escapees is gonna be Leatherface because for some fucking reason, oh, they all have different names now. It's so obvious which one it is, and they try and throw in this red herring with this fucking big guy. And I'm gonna spoil this movie here because I don't even care. Don't see it. It's not worth it. Sam Strike is fucking Leatherface and he's this little fucking twiggy nothing, which if you've seen any of the other films, you know doesn't make a lick of sense. And this dude's an awful actor, and he's like a relatively normal guy and well-adjusted, and he's just like kind of shy and awkward, and then out of nowhere, they're like, you know, when his people start dying and he gets wrapped up in this whole escape, somehow he just snaps and starts like losing his cognitive abilities. And it's really funny because I looked into this movie a little bit after watching it and seeing like the way he tried to prepare for this role. Apparently he like put on some weight, which doesn't really show at all. And he like developed a battle cry because, you know, Leatherface like screams a lot. And so his rendition of that is him being like, "Ah!" And it's really laughable because he's so bad. This movie's horrendous. There's no reason for it to exist. It wants so badly to try and measure up to the other films by constantly paying homage to them in certain kills and certain scenes where like the chase through the woods, they try and do it in this, but it doesn't look nearly as good in this because the lighting is way too good and it takes away any of that really uncomfortable nature to it. At the end of the day, is this as bad as Texas Chainsaw 3D or Next Generation or any of those things? No. I mean, those movies are fucking awful, and Texas Chainsaw 3D is one of the worst things I've ever seen, but this is still fucking horrendous. This is the worst thing I've seen this year, by far, like, without a doubt in my mind. The original Texas Chainsaw Massacre was shocking and really exploitative at the time, not because it was full of gratuitous, unnecessary imagery and gore, but because it was advertised as a real, true story, and it was done under such a low budget and such conditions that it made it feel very raw and very real and very gritty and uncomfortable. This movie seems to think that in order to make a good Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie, all you need is a lot of tits and gore and weird corpse sex. It's extremely tired, lazy shock horror, and it's super fucking boring. And I'm gonna say that Leatherface is the definition of soulless. It has no reason to exist. It's really cliche and predictable and boring and badly directed and badly acted. Don't see it. It's not worth it. It's really not. The fact that 2 directors are responsible for this is really heartbreaking because no effort went into this film whatsoever. If I didn't know any better, I would say this is like the kind of film that somebody makes in order to retain the rights to a character, but I don't think that was the case. It's just bland and lazy and stupid, and it serves no purpose whatsoever and has no reason to exist. So why the fuck did they make it? Money, I guess, but it didn't really make that much money. It was straight to DVD, so why does this movie exist? I don't fucking know. Don't watch it, guys. Like and comment and subscribe and watch literally anything else. Thank you.